welcome to our Global Public Seminar in Comparative and International Education. Today's seminar is part of a series of seminars dedicated to the Ukrainian higher education in times of war. This series of 4 webinars are convened by Dr. Yulia Zaychuk and myself. Yulia is a professor from Ivan Franko National University of Lviv in Ukraine. She is currently an academic visitor at the Department of Education at Oxford. I am Maya Changseliani. I am Associate Professor of Comparative and International Education at the University of Oxford. Amid Russia's ongoing military invasion of Ukraine, this series delves into the strategies employed by Ukrainian universities to operate during these turbulent times. In this series, we examine their commitment to upholding educational standards and advancing research agendas while safeguarding the well-being of all involved. Despite the formidable challenges posed by the conflict, Ukrainian academic institutions demonstrate resilience, continuing to foster intellectual pursuits, and they actively engage in scholarly discourse nationally as well as internationally. Through this series, through these 4 presentations, we gain insights into the measures undertaken by these universities to ensure the continuity of learning and research, whilst at the same time placing paramount importance on the safety of their academic communities. Our speakers, as you have seen, are drawn from a variety of Ukrainian higher education and research institutions, and they share their first-hand accounts of functioning amidst the turmoil of war. Before introducing our 4th speaker today, let me attend very briefly to a few administrative points. This webinar is being recorded, as you might have noticed, and will be posted online in due course. You can also see online all other webinars from this special series, as well as all other global public seminars in comparative and international education. I will post a link to these very shortly in the chat. Please, can I ask that you all keep yourself muted throughout the webinar, unless I have invited you to speak. When I invite you to speak, please unmute yourself, introduce yourself, and ask a question or comment. In order to do that, you will have to put your question or comment in the chat of the Zoom meeting, okay? I will then select questions and comments from there and invite you to speak. Okay, let's start then. Let me introduce our speaker, Professor Oksana Bodnar. Professor Bodnar is based at the Department of Pedagogy and Educational Management at the Volodymyr Hnyatyuk Ternopil National Pedagogical University. Professor Bodnar specializes in educational management and also in pedagogy. Her research encompasses various aspects of educational management with a focus on the administration of general educational institutions, organizational pedagogical foundations of expert evaluation in educational settings, monitoring and self-assessment in educational institutions, and the development of analytical and expert competencies in education management. Her work includes both theoretical and applied aspects, and she contributes to the field of educational administration and management broadly. Professor Bodnar has authored around 200 publications and has 50 years of experience in teaching, so we are delighted to be hosting Professor Bodnar today. Her talk is titled Perception of Uncertainty by the Participants of the Educational Process Under the State of War in Higher Education Institutions of Ukraine. I will pass to Professor Bodnar. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much for introduction. I want to start my presentation. Can you see a full presentation?
Yes, we do. Yes.
Thank you very much. Dear friends, dear participants of the Global Public Seminars, I would like to present your attention result of our research. Let me first tell you a few words about our town and University. Chernobyl is located in the heart of western Ukraine. It was founded as a fortress in 1540. It is often called the beautiful town. Today, 250,000 people live in our town. There are 4 universities in Chernobyl: economic, medical, technical, and pedagogical. Our university is small, only about 7,000 students study. You can see the name of these faculties on the slide. Our students have opportunity to study at different educational level and receive the status of bachelor, master, doctor of philosophy, and earn 127 educational and professional programs in total, but they are updated every year. This year, for example, we are launching an educational and professional program for bachelor called Smart Grid Technologies in Energy. The Faculty of Pedagogy and Psychology, where I work, contains 6 departments and 5 community projects. I would like that I manage a project called the Education Manager Research Office. This project gives us the opportunity to evaluate process and changes in education. As the meeting of the research office, we invite well-known scientists, heads of education institutions, graduate students, and postgraduate who share their research in various fields in education. Our faculty take an active part in volunteer activities. In particular, students and teachers review camouflage nets, make trends candles, students organize charity fairs and concerts. I want to emphasize that volunteering in Ukraine is a phenomenon that has truly unfolded during the period of war. This allows citizens to feel involved in the struggle for victory. Today, I would like to share with you the result of research or the perception of uncertainty by the participant of education process on the state of war in higher education institution of Ukraine. What is problem relevant to us? Observing the event of the last 3 years, we come to the conclusion that the world is losing its systematic and structured nature, and the world order is collapsing under the influence of random factors. This was demonstrated by the COVID-19 epidemic and the war in Ukraine. It's not a new topic. Problem of a sense of uncertainty and human perception of university uncertainty interests many scientists. The main argument for the relevance of the problem of studying uncertainty are follows. Uncertainty is a part of our lives, whether at peace or at the war. Everyone deals with uncertainty on a daily basis, as we never know what will happen in the next minute. Before the quarantine, people didn't think about uncertainty and perceived it as an unfortunate accident. The war increased the degree of uncertainty of in Ukraine and the whole world. The Department of Pedagogic and Management of Education has a master degree program where we train school managers. It is important for managers to make decisions in the condition of uncertainty. The study of uncertainty helps to assess risk that creates flexible plan adapted to change. Learning about uncertainty encourages people to look for new solutions, develop critical thinking, and discover new opportunities with valuable in areas of life. These skills are especially useful in our day, where change are rapid and uncertainty is becoming the norm in many areas, including business, technology, political, and social life. As scary as it may sound in Ukraine, People have partly become used to war. Our task is find a pattern and correlate our action in conditions of uncertainty. We know that people talk about uncertainty when they don't understand the situation and don't know how to adapt to it. The slides show two interpretations of uncertainty. The next slide shows the type of uncertainty. Mostly, uncertainty is associated with the inability to obtain information or lack of information. Also, as you can see on the slide, there are other types of uncertainty. Allow me briefly introduce to one of the micro-studies we conducted in October 2023 with master's students in the field of management. I want to note that survey was voluntary and anonymous. The first question is about specific of student character. The diagram shows that 59% of students have sufficient willpower and ability to overcome difficult circumstances, and 41% are reasonable and able to adapt to situation. It is gratified the note that not a single student admitted the submission to circumstances is priority features. The second question, what event have influenced the most? 59% of respondents are sure that the war with Russia had the great impact on their character. Almost 23% of students say that family problems are the reason for the change in their character. 13% of students believe that they have a strong character and no problem affects them. Only 4.5% associate the change in the character quarantine and the COVID epidemic. The next question, describe thoughts at the beginning of the war. 77% respondents choose an answer, it is necessary to fight. This doesn't mean that everyone was preparing to go to the front, because there are different ways to fight, helping the army and engaging in volunteer activities, supporting soldiers with letter, even performing one's duty well during study. This too is proof, so they cannot be defeated. 80% of respondents decide not to make any decision, just to weigh out this difficult time. Only 4.5% of students thought that they should simply accept the circumstances. The students' responses are convincing that nobody of them had any intention of feeling the country or giving in. The response of the fifth question, student names the factors that, in their opinion, are important for maintaining health during the war. 81% of participants believe that preserving one's health is important, to always be attentive to advice and try to follow safety rules. 9% of respondents think that for feeling healthy, you should not take any information too close to heart. But another 9% of students claim that fear never leaves them, so no safety rules will help me. I want to emphasize that every university has psychological support service, and students can sign up for consultation online. The next slide, question. connect with personal change of student is the beginning on the war. 68% said that they began to value their lives more and enjoy every day. 18% student answered that they had restored their lives and realized that they should live and enjoy life under the circumstances. However, 9% have stopped enjoying lives and don't perceive any positive moments. Even 4% of respondents choose the extreme negative answer, saying that they are always in a bad mood. However, we understand that everyone's mood can be affected not only by the fact that we live as a war. There are many other reasons. In situations of uncertainty, especially when students feel it dangerous every day, they begin to appreciate every moment of life more. This encourages them to analyze their factors and behavior, seeking ways to help others and to make the world better, highlighting the importance for compassion and mutual support. Such a desire for good deeds become a form of resistance to uncertainty. Do you read news about the war every day? Respondents choose only two answers. 50% read the news about the war several times a day, and 50% read the news only once a week. No one student who read the news once or months, and also there is no student who never read the news. This indicates a high level anxiety among students. Also, they all claim, as previous surveys show, that most of them regulate their emotion. Interest in the news is driven by desire to learn as soon as possible about the end of the war and victory. I would like to note that number of students who are interested in the situation in the country in general and the political sphere has increased several times. Basically, reading the news has become a part of our lives. There are many sources in the internet where you can find out about news from the battlefield. But this interest in the even of the war is also connected with the desire to ensure one's own safety. Also, we don't recommend reading news about the war, as the information is mostly negative and reduce positive impression of life. Next question, how do you behave in the condition of uncertainty? It should be noted that before the survey, we talked to students about uncertainty. 77% of respondents make their own decision and choose behavioral model to survive in any circumstances. 8 respondents start consulting with their parents or friends. Perhaps this part of student isn't quite self-confident and relies more on the advice of parents and friends. And only 4.5% of students don't decide anything in situation of uncertainty, relying on fate, waiting for what will happen next. This demonstrates the fact that strong-minded people always rely on themselves and make their own decisions. However, the authoritative opinion of parents and friends is still of great importance to students, which is also very good. At the same time, it should be emphasized that the most cases, our students perceive uncertainty as a misunderstanding that can be changed. Next slide, question 9. How satisfied are you with your life now? 73% said they were almost satisfied with their life. 27% very partly satisfied, and no student admitted that they were not satisfied with their lives. Their answer once again confirmed the fact that young people are always optimistic about the future. Young people don't lose their optimistic in the condition of uncertainty, as they are characterized by the natural flexibility and the ability to quickly adapt to change, using new opportunities for personal growth and development. They know how to enjoy life thanks to their high energy level and positive attitude towards the future, which allows them to see the future, even the difficult circumstances. In addition, a strong sense of community and support among their peers feels optimism as they believe in the power of collective effort and mutual assistance to achieve positive change. 10th question, are you confident in your future? 77% of respondents are confident and believe that everything will be fine. 9% students are not confident at all. 13% students are partly confident, and no student choose the answer, I don't care what happens tomorrow. The generation of tomorrow will be stronger, more stress-resistant and adaptive, because they have survived 2 years of the COVID and war. Therefore, will be prepared for the challenges of future civilization development. Education provides students with the tool to critically analyze information and develop their own conclusion about how to interact in the future. The following 2 slides demonstrate how the law of uncertainty works. According to the main concept of uncertainty, people cannot remain under stress for a long time, and therefore often simplify the situation and adapt to it. The question, do you feel fear during the lecture when you hear the higher alert? In 2022 years, 53% of students felt fears during an higher alert, but 2023 years, only 6% of students admit that higher alert causes fear and anxiety. I am confident that the level of anxiety perception depends on individual characteristics. The next slide demonstrates the change in student attitude towards safety rules during higher alert while at home after lecture. If in 2022, 87% of students react to the higher alert by immediately seeking shelter. In October 2023, only 21% of graduate students comply with safety rules during alert at home after lecture. This is explained by objective reasons. Students get used to permanent risk and interpret it as something that is routine. They focus on them, micro them, and often ignore external dangers to reduce stress. Except to given result, we conduct the research of evolution of educational process in the condition of war. But after the shortest time, I will read a separated result only. On the whole student, positive estimate quality of educational process in the condition of war. Want to read separate result. Not a single student was found to be dissatisfaction with the educational process. All students can study academic discipline in the Moodle system and have full access to consultation. 81% of students believe that teachers work equally effective online and offline. Most students, 71% believe their motivation to study hasn't changed, as 19% have started studying even better. Continues. Most students believe that the quality of education has improved during war. 6% of respondents have enough spiritual strength to support their classmates and friends. 7% of students will be more motivated to study after the war, and 33% will not change their motivation to study. 20% of respondents believe that teacher enthusiasm for the education process has somewhat decreased. 57% of studies say that there are a small number of pessimistic among their classmates. However, 14% of students are dissatisfied with the objective of the assessment. Based on the research, we have drawn conclusion about the positive and negative aspects of uncertainty. Positive features in educational process of higher education institution occurred during the war. The first positive, a mixed form of education has been introduced and the use of distance learning has improved, allowing students to build a flexible learning schedule. The information and digital competence of teachers has been improved. Students began to work independently for long period of time, so developing self-management skills. English learning has become a priority for teachers and students. People's stress tolerance has increased. They have begun to pay more attention to their own health, value life more, and spend more time with family and friends. Negative features. Lectures that follow the university schedule are interrupted during the alert without any continuance. The amount of homework has decreased, and students have to think about safety rules and often cannot complete it on time. So prolonged exercises have become popular. The classroom workload of teachers has increased. A student enrolled in the dual program choose the time for lectures themselves, mostly from 18 to 22 p.m. the evening. The financial capacity of students' parents has decreased, and of course there are cases when students are forced to leave their studies because of this. The permanent feeling to danger leads to addiction and disregarded to the rules of behavior in time of emergency. And the result of the research become the reason for information of recommendation for students regarding behavior in condition uncertainty. This recommendation include, first of all, take care of our safety and others, and identify the risk. Imagine the worst Imagine the worst case scenario and think about how to avoid it. Estimate the cost of implementing solution. Consult your colleges. Determine the time frame for preparing and implementing solution. Identify obstacles to implementation. Model its implementation and identify problem. Think outside the box. Create alternative option. Work on development stress resistant. And conclusion. The whole world is learning to live in a new environment of uncertainty. Ukraine's example has shown that the world was fragile as the global order is. Ukrainians are showing the world how to fight to freedom every day and in all spheres. Our students are a strong generation that will rebuild and develop the country. We have learned to appreciate every moment of life and enjoy simple things. We will win because our motto is to think globally and act locally. I would like to note that we set ourselves the task of studying the deep psychology state of students in conditional uncertainty. Our task was to identify general trends in student behavior under condition of uncertainty and to study individual opinion or respondents regarding the perception of uncertainty. This is all in order to understand what we need to change in teaching. So we believe in victory, but it is important for us to learn to value the experience gained while overcoming difficult and use it to develop personal qualities and achieve long-term goals. At the same time, the study will provide an opportunity to continue in a deeper perspective. I hope that this workshop will be useful for dependent international cooperation with university. Thank you very much for attention and your commitment. I finish.
Thank you very much, Professor Bodnar, for sharing this valuable data that you have shared with us and your important insights into the experiences of Ukrainian students in times of war. The resilience that the stories of resilience that you shared and their optimism is really impressive and inspiring for me personally. So thank you very much. I have questions, but I will start with by inviting a member from the audience, Ulana Pizzameski. If you wanted to come in, Ulana, introduce yourself and ask your question.
Yes, thank you very much, Professor Bodnar and Chungslanya. I wanted to ask about the sort of community aspect of supporting resilience. We understood from this very valuable and insightful survey process what an individual can achieve in reflecting upon their experience while they are in experience. But just as you mentioned, Professor Bodnar, about peer support and perhaps even from their professors, it might be interesting to know if you gathered either informally or formally any data about the role of civic organizations or groups, formal and informal, or even spiritual institutions in helping the students to feel that they were making progress in dealing with uncertainty.
Thank you very much for the question. We understand that we live in a very difficult time, and every teacher in our university understands that we must support the student during every lecture, and every teacher chooses innovation approach for teaching. And our community, professor community in our university to try have conversation with our student about different topic. I want to tell, for example, if I to start lecture, I every day give you question. How are you? Please tell me a positive news, and I try tell about interest story, and I often show cartoon in our lecture, and joke. I use a joke because when our student has a laugh, that understands that I can begin the scientist information, and I know that our student when answer the question always same as tell me that we go to the university with enjoy, because we hope that we have got from our teachers positive effect, positive mood. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. While we await further questions and comments, please, I would like to encourage everyone to just put a few words so that I know if you want to speak. I would like to ask Professor Bodnar about academics and the experience of academics, teachers, lecturers at universities, professors. So you talked with us about students. Can you tell us a little bit more about your own experiences and of your colleagues? For example, can you tell us how does your typical day now, typical work day now, is different from your typical work day in 2021, for example? How is it different, your day-to-day life and your work?
Every day for us is very different because this depends for situation in the world. I want to say that our day, every day we begin for read news. I understand that is bad habit because we don't live without news, and because we every day choose among the news that maybe tomorrow war will finish. And I must repeat that teaching academic load is increased. For example, today, my day, in morning, I have consultation with my postgraduate student. I have 3 students from China, aspirant from China, and 2 Ukraine. And next hour, I must prepare saying speech about conference when this conference will be tomorrow. And next hour, I must dedicate cooking because my husband like cooking is very much. Next hour, I connect with my son, because after 3 p.m. I know that my son is ready to connect with me. Tomorrow I have prepared to exam from Ukrainian language, because this year's my contract is finished, and we must give our chair of department certification of Ukraine exam. And because I finished Lviv University in faculty philology, but our law in Ukraine need from us certificate of Ukraine language. And I must emphasize that our day is very prefer from about behind war, because when we live in COVID epidemic, during epidemic, we have a lot time free. And when war start in Ukraine, we was frustrated. And I must outline that young people feel this dangerous simplify, but adult population perceive that situation with near heart. And but never our teacher never said that we don't cope the situation. We must cope the situation, and I believe that we have got many weapons from foreign country, and then we have hope that the dangerous situation will be finished.
Thank you, Professor Bodnar. Before I invite next two questions, very quickly, because some of the people in attendance may be interested to hear a little bit more about the language requirements. From what I know, it's a recent policy change that everyone has to pass those Ukrainian language tests. So who exactly have to pass those tests? Can you tell us a little bit for those of us who may not know exactly what this policy is?
We must test of Ukraine language only he have state work. In particular, every teachers in university and worker in government, in region, and authority, and
basically all teachers, all professors, and public servants.
Our teachers not
teachers. Okay.
Only teachers in university and workers in the department or authority in town.
In government,
In
yes.
town,
Okay.
government.
Thank you very much. We have two more questions here. Can I invite Zene Sime, please? Sorry if I'm not pronouncing your name incorrectly.
Yes, thank you so much. As I've mentioned in the chat area, thank you for your presentation. I was wondering whether you would like to share any insights concerning the facilities of your university and the rest of the universities in Ternopil. For example, how has the war affected your buildings? For example, the functionality of certain facilities in comparison to pre-war routine work. Have any of your buildings been damaged? And have you welcomed any new, I put it in the brackets because they might be re-enrolling, so students who have done some studies before but are new to your university. So have you welcomed new students who have arrived in Ternopil from the most severely war-ravaged regions of Ukraine? And this question builds on the insights shared by the presenters during the lectures given during the previous weeks. I know that this surpasses the scope, the thematic scope of your presentation today. So my apologies if I'm touching upon some of the aspects that you might not have sufficient information to respond. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. A big assessment. Ternopil is located very far from front line, and we listen explosion only 4 times during 2 years, and our build is okay. In Ternopil, every school and every university have a big shelter. In one of build, the main build in university have shelter for 1,000 students, and every month special commission check out the comfortable shelter in the every schools. And from I answer the next question. In our university, we haven't student from occupation territory, but as the state and the start war, particularly in the February 2022, we have a lot student, because many people, many parents with students live in our domestic dormitory, and today everybody lives this domestic dormitory, and I must outline that we never will be confident that next day disrupt our university, because we show that every day trajectory rocket attack change, and we hope that our university will be a whole, and we always study in this our building.
Thank you very much. And the final question from Ulana Pitsdametsky again, please.
Thank you very much for allowing me another question, Professor. I'm interested as a community of practice researcher, Professor Bodnar, what support do you find or have you found from your colleagues, from your professional community? We've heard about the support of students among students, students and teachers, students, teachers, and parents. But what about you as an academic and educator, Professor Bodnar, among your colleagues? How do you support one another?
I must outline that we lose rest in teacher. We go together only consult on only seminars, and we try to speaking with between teacher, and when we have meeting, we never say about war. Never. This topic is forbidden, and because we must show in the face that teacher is very happy, teacher is very strong, teacher is example for the behavior. When then we lose positive, we never can opportunity support our students. This, we have such situation. Our student must don't cooperate that they live in the situation, and our support is very, very important for them. And our community always support our university because we have got many supplies and many computers from community. And I must outline that this period was for us very difficult, but nothing, no change for maintain of educational process.
Thank you very much. It was very interesting to listen to you. Very important talk and really interesting discussion. Thank you everyone for your questions. As everyone knows, we are today concluding this series of 4 webinars on this topic, on the topic of higher education at the time of war in Ukraine. These seminars were co-convened by Yulia Zaychuk and myself. I must say that the idea of these seminars came from Yulia Zaychuk, who is currently a visitor at the Department of Education at Oxford. Yulia selected the participants, coordinated everything with participants, and basically led everything except leading the seminars that she asked me to do under the umbrella of our existing global public seminars in comparative and international education. So I think it's very important that Yulia has an opportunity to say a few words before we conclude this seminar series. Yulia, if you wanted to come in.
Thank you, Maya. Yes, it is true. Today we conclude our special series of talks exploring Ukrainian higher education in times of war. This series had been launched here at the University of Oxford's Department of Education on January 24, UNESCO's International Day of Education, tying in with this year's theme of Learning for Lasting Peace. and held in Hillary term 2024 every Wednesday until today. It was, as you know, it was 4 seminars as part of the global public seminars on comparative and international education, explores how Ukrainian universities demonstrating the incredible resilience give a confident and clear response to extremely complex challenges caused by the Russian military invasion of Ukraine, maintaining a constant commitment to their long-term academic role. We had been researching the main responses of Ukrainian university to the challenges with a special emphasis on the internationalization. We had been researching a separate case of adopting the University of Lviv in time of war, highlighting aspects such as solidarity with war victims, psychological support, teaching, research, anti-Russian measures. We outlined the prospects of the development of higher education in the vision of the Ministry of Education and Science of Ukraine and talk about doctoral training in Ukrainian universities nowadays. And today we had been researching the concept of uncertainty and demonstrated the research result conducting on perception of uncertainty by the participants of educational process under the state of war in higher education institutions in Ukraine. We hope that the seminars were able to become an aspect of help to better understand current Ukrainian realities as a whole and extremely difficult challenges created for Ukrainian universities in times of war disaster. We also believe that it is useful practical experience that had been learned from Ukrainian tenacity and can be used by other countries facing existential threats. From my side, I would like to thank all the speakers, the colleagues representing various Ukrainian universities for your time, for your excellent talks, and sharing your research results and personal experience with us. That is Professor Roman Gladishevsky, academic of the National Academy of Science of Ukraine, Vice Rector of Research, Ivan Franko National University of Lviv, Professor Olena Lokshina, National Academy of Educational Science of Ukraine, and Professor Oksana Bodnar, Ternopil Volodymyr Hnatyuk Pedagogical University. I would like to thank Dr. Maya Chemsiliani, convener of the Global Public Seminars on Comparative and International Education, for supporting the idea of this series of talks and for all our cooperation in the frame of this. And I would like to thank all of you for joining us, for joining this series, and for your interest, for your comments, for your questions. I would like to say that our series of talks shows that the current responses of higher education in Ukraine analyzed by us are justified and help to maintain higher education in Ukraine. And only together, only with your support, we can overcome the devastating consequences of Russia's ongoing military invasion of Ukraine to all aspects of human life of Ukraine, including the educational process. So thank you very much again to all of you.
Thank you, Yulia. I'm joining Yulia to thank everyone again. I think this was a very successful seminar series with lots of people joining, some people joining absolutely every seminar. We will have recordings. There are already recordings of previous 3 on our departmental page, and this final recording will be added there. While we finish this special series, we will be continuing monthly global public seminars in comparative education. I put the information on the next seminar, which will be on the 20th of March. Please register, join, and we will continue talking about education globally. Thank you very much, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Goodbye.